Hi everyone, it's Alisha here at Cosmic Gateway. I hope you're all doing spectacularly well and had a great third week of October. So as we're moving into the fourth and final week of October, it feels like there is a lot of momentum brewing in the energy field. Hang on. So sorry. I am traveling this week and I'm currently up at the Gold Coast, and I decided to record outside because it's so beautiful out here. But I'm trying to film in between helicopters, jets and race cars, so I really apologize for the background noise, and I'm trying to film in between to have a little bit of peace and quiet. So yeah, just doing a little bit of an energy update, some observations where we're at from my perspective. It certainly last week was very much about resting and allowing our bodies to integrate. So I know a lot of people were or have been experiencing extreme fatigue and tiredness, especially over the last week or two. And the need for rest is really, really important. And I talk about this often because, we are multidimensional beings, so we are constantly working on different layers and dimensions. And, I've always had a theory that, when there is time that we feel that we need more rest, that's because it's required that our consciousness goes out into different aspects to do other work in different realms. And I guess if you understand, I remember it took me years and years to understand this, but when you realize that time is not as we perceive it, we are, constantly living in past, present, and future all at once. So that means also what we call past lives simultaneously running at this time as well. I remember it used to really mess with my head, but as you start to grow and evolve in your own consciousness, you start to have a greater awareness of that. So, and of course, going through the Ascension process, my understanding of that theory is that we're going and we're closing off different timeline realities and different, I guess what some people would call, I've just lost the word, but parallel realities, other realities. And if you think about the soul, here's a soul, and then a fractal of us comes into just incarnate in one physical body. And so there's multiple aspects of that soul that's going out and doing all sorts of things. So, one analogy that I was given as we go through our ascension process is that we're kind of closing off all our 3D lifetimes and experiences. So it's like we incarnate into 3D reality for the first time, eons ago for most of us. And we go through, multiple layers of the karmic wheel of different experiences that we can have in a 3D reality. And we get to this point while we're in this experience, of course, and we get to this point as we go through our ascension or our graduation process, and we start to energetically close off those. So it's like we take that learning and that lesson and that experience from all those, and we start to unravel it so that we're closing off these timelines and we're unifying it into one. And that's where we're merging our multi-dimensional aspects of self. So we're retaining all the soul's knowledge and wisdom into the one vessel. So, I guess that's just one perspective. I'm not saying that that's absolute truth. That's just an analogy that I was given going through my process to help me better understand, the need for rest, the need for sleep, the need for downtime, and explain a lot of the dreams, and then most of us in this community will have crazy, vivid, cosmic, other lifetime dreams, and it's all beautiful. It's all part of it. So, anyway, that was a bit of a tangent. Back to the energies. It has felt a little bit heavier. I would say, we're still in right smack bang in the middle of Venus retrograde, and we do have a lot of astrological points that are kind of really pressing on people to go through a release. And I know that even for me, yesterday traveling, I had one epic adventure. You know, what should have taken me a couple of hours took me over 12 hours. So, you know, I know that for the duration of while I'm up here to expect the unexpected at any point, but I guess that's life as well. And so things are constantly shifting and changing. So don't get stuck into how things are right now, because the possibility that that can change in an instant second is highly likely in these times. So remember that. Yeah, so a bit of clearing going on. I'm not an astrologer, I don't go into it, but I know that it does have influences and it does impact us. And it can impact people, for, you know, in varying degrees. And I guess a big part of that is I really like what Edgar Casey said and how it's relative to what the soul has done on its soul journey. And I'm going to try not to hash it up, but, you know, go and research it, you know, and find out for yourself. But it really resonated with me, and it made sense to me that some people are more impacted by different astrological retrogrades, depending on what their karmic connection is and what their lifetime was connected to that planet in their soul journey. And, you know, to me that makes perfect sense, and it, you know, makes sense why we come into this incarnation born at a specific time, because it's all related to the soul and its evolution. So, you know, if you're not getting hit with this Venus retrograde, if you're in the very, very small percent, you know, obviously you have some good karma connected to Venus, and that's great, you know. And so that's where we can't really compare our journeys, because the soul is very unique and it has its own individual experiences over and over again. So keep that in mind. What else? Yeah, I feel that this week coming it feels, I've been saying this for a long time, you know, last end of October feels very highly energetically charged. We've had a little bit of Schumann spikes over last week, not massively in comparison to the weeks leading in. Solar wind, even though we've felt the effects, which is really interesting because I want to talk about timelines a little bit. So I've been checking the space weather website where it gives the current updates of the solar wind, and it was forecasted a few days ago and it didn't arrive. Yet I personally, I know a lot of people were feeling the general effects of the solar winds, you know, the grumpiness and the being lethargic and tired and all that sort of thing. Yet it wasn't showing. And so it's like, are we being affected by what I call multidimensional energy? Yes, absolutely we are. But secondly, it's like, are we experiencing it on different timelines of reality as well? You know, because there are different strands of it, and it's probably a very big topic to go into, and I won't go into it. But, you know, we are all kind of jumping on different timelines. You know, going back to that time non-linear thing. Frequency equates to your personal vibration and where you're at and which timeline. And I see it as more of a like moving out of the 3D denser energies and the matrix and moving into the fifth dimensional and of course beyond. So it's not so much like equated in linear time as we've known it, because we're moving out of that time. So it's going to be really interesting how, you know, astrology and transits and things like that change as we move further into this paradigm shift, because I think that, you know, that's all based off, you know, a calendar and things like that. So that's going to be interesting how that changes and evolves probably more to energy and frequency. But anyway, that could be a long, long story. We'll move into it. Yeah, have an absolutely amazing week coming up. And just, it's really important to listen to your body and what you require in each moment, and trust your body and what you need. If you need to rest, do that. If you feel like you need to call a friend, if you need, you know, whatever it is, trust that, you know, you have all the guidance within you. And that's really important to trust that. Know when it's coming from a head space, like a more ego space, and when it's coming from a heart space of your soul communicating with you. So, so important. So, let's get into, I did bring some cards up with me. So my original plan was to record before I came up. That didn't happen, so here I am up in the Gold Coast, and I brought some cards up with me. So these will be the cards for this week for the intuitive guidance reading. So we've got card A, or reading A, that one there. So tune in, whichever one calls you. Then we've got card B, or reading B, which will be this one here. And lucky last, card C, or reading C, that one there. Okay, awesome. So, have a wonderful week. If you feel guided to book a session with me, I help people through energy adjustment, twin flame guidance sessions, divine partnership alignment sessions, a whole range of different price range and different session types, and I'll put the links to those in the description box below. If not, have an amazing week, and I will connect with you soon. Lots of love. Bye.